Ladies and gentlemen, I got a guest of the ages coming all the way from the East Coast. This is the first podcast I do since my grandfather passed away. And I've been a little quiet lately, but I wanted to reach out to someone who could help me commemorate a time when my grandfather was still alive and we were creating movies in honor of my grandparents. And I reached out to my friend Annie Rodriguez, who is also known by a different name. Annie, tell us tell us your 2021 identity.
Liz Kozikowski.
All right, that's a lot different than when we first met 18 years ago on your
Mm-hmm.
birthday.
Thank you. I'm under hiding.
You're in the witness
I'm.
protection program.
I am. I am.
Tell me about your name change.
Um. Well, it's not a name change. My name is actually Elizabeth. My name is Annie Elizabeth. Um. And so my family always just called me by my middle name, Elizabeth. But being coming from a Spanish background, obviously my family called me Lisa. Oh my God, so many variations to my name. Okay, so my at home I was called Lisa, Elisa if I was in trouble. Annie was always associated with school and then with work, and for a very long time those worlds just did not merge until I got older, and my cousins who called me Liz because they speak English. Lisa, if you're Spanish speaking,
Gotcha.
um, they started, having their own spouses and significant others, and so they obviously I was introduced as Liz, so they were calling me Liz, and through that I was getting there was one a spouse of a cousin who would help me get jobs for photography and different things like that. So when she would introduce me, she would introduce me as Liz. And a spouse of another cousin would we would have house parties and then she would introduce me as Liz. So then more and more people were calling me Liz that were outside of my family home. And I was starting to be recognized through my professional, through photography as Liz also. So I just kept Liz. I know more people who call me Liz than Annie at this point.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. That's an adjustment for me. And even like when I would like kick it at your house, like, I would see
Mm-hmm.
your mom call you Elizabeth, and
Mm-hmm.
I always that was like your house name, but then you're like
My house name. Mm-hmm. My Dominican name.
then your Dominican name, and then your outdoor name was Annie. It was like
Correct.
so
Right.
I always knew you as Annie. I think you'll always be Annie in my mind, you
That's
know.
fine. You call me whatever you want.
I do find it interesting that people will always go for like the least amount of syllables, right? Just Liz,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in a job interview or like when you meet someone, how do you introduce yourself?
I've been very confused lately. Okay, I'll tell you this much. When we moved here in to Georgia, um, I was recommended a realtor, but I was recommended that realtor through my cousin's friend who knew me as Liz. So when I we came down here and we were looking for homes, the realtor kept calling me Liz until this day. Obviously, she calls me Liz. I'm not going to say, "Oh no, it's Annie," because she said, "Hey, my friend Liz needs help finding a house in Georgia." So So this is what I mean. The before it just used to be Annie was in the professional world or whatnot, and people who were friends and family called me Liz. Whereas, and now more people outside of friends and family are calling me Liz. So now I'm just very confused. I don't know how to introduce myself. I do say Annie, like for teachers, for the kids. Obviously, Annie is my legal first name, and that is what the
The,
teachers see.
the
So
government name?
my government name, and so that's what the teachers call me. So yes, I suppose like if I were to go on a job interview, I would say Annie.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because you told, and you know why? I left it because of you.
Me? What did I
Yes,
do?
because you told me once, if you make it in Hollywood, you should go by Elizabeth. That's what you told me. You should go by Elizabeth, not by Annie. And
Well,
so
the movie that you produced with me,
you
you're
always put Elizabeth
credited
for me.
Elizabeth. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It just sounds more regal, like, bow down to bend the knee. It makes me want to bend the knee to Queen Elizabeth.
There you go.
Just so our listeners know, you and I met on your birthday,
Mm-hmm.
October 3rd, 18 years ago.
Oh my God. 18 years?
Yeah,
Really?
2003, right?
That's 18 years?
Well,
Holy
it's
crap.
2020. Well, it'll be 18 years this October. So
Wow. Our kid is going to college.
now we're home free. Now we're home free.
Get out of here.
So you and I first met in the autumn of 2003, and we immediately connected, and we immediately started creating works in cinematic form. And I want to know how you got into movie making and your interest in filmmaking back then.
Um, well, I mean, I've always been fascinated by movies. I mean, who isn't really? Um, Being a kid, growing up in a urban, setting, coming from immigrant parents who weren't too familiar with, city life or whatnot. I was very sheltered, so to speak. So pretty much my outlet was watching movies, 80s movies. I mean, Never Ending Story, Princess Bride, all these things. And I've always had this fascination of being in the movie. I mean, the magic that it takes to make a movie. And with that, I just always had a fascination. But I didn't, at the same time, you know, you like an art, but you are told that, you should always have a backup plan. It's probably not the best, thing to focus all your energy on. You may not make it. It's hard to do it. So I always had a love for it, but always this, I guess, in the back of my mind, self-doubt, but still in my early 20s, at least, trying to always try to aim and pursue it. And so I was going to college, and that's where I met Caesar. He was in one of my film classes.
Oh, that's right.
And with him, we clicked like right away. Caesar was always in the back of the class, and I was in the front of the class. And we had like classes like film theory, where the professor would just dissect these films and bring out all the symbolism, like this is why the curtain was red and the director chose to do it this way in the light. And I was like immersed and fascinated by the whole thing. And with Caesar, we clicked really well. And he said he had an idea for a film, and if I wanted to help out in it. I was at the time interning for a film foundation that recognized like short stories and things like that. And he saw that I was doing that, and that's how he knew I wanted to be way more invested in filmmaking and the process of supporting artists and things like that. So, and that's how it started. It started with you and Caesar.
On
Uh, what was the name of that movie?
Fetish Boy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So we made a movie called Fetish Boy about this
Mm-hmm.
kid who has a foot fetish and it cuts off his own feet. Or I haven't seen it in a long time, but it was pretty funny and weird and like the right kind of project to get us warmed up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had so much fun.
I remember we turned your mom's house into like a movie studio.
I don't know even where my mom was. She was always traveling.
I don't know, but I know we did like a casting and a bunch of people came, and then we ran them up to your mom's house and we started shooting a movie and took over the
The
whole
whole
house.
house. Each corner of the house was a different room or a different like scene.
Oh my god, absolutely. And that's why my relationship with you is very it's one of my darling memories of not just my filmmaking endeavors but my own personal life, because I moved to New York to learn about life and develop character, but filmmaking was always the priority on my list. And my relationship with you like really became the arrowhead of my presence in New York. So then after Fetish Boy, we continued to collaborate together, which was really fun.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that you and I just we mesh so well. Like we were at a point that we read each other's minds.
Oh, absolutely.
And we just our energies together was so insane. So insane. That says a lot. I'll tell you something, because till this day, I can't say that I've had that same energy and collaboration with anybody else. It's really hard to find someone that you just know what they're thinking, and or when they say you're anticipating that already, and it's like, I got you. We'll take care of it with good energy too. There was never any like, oh my god, I can't believe this wasn't done, or why isn't this happening? It's just if something was going on, it was okay. Don't worry about it. I got you. Or I mean, we were so young. We were always, how many mistakes have we done?
Oh my god!
Don't even talk about the record button yet. Hold on.
Oh, we'll get to that. But I know that at some point we started developing a good little co-op, right? This good little crux of creative people that still went off and made a bunch of stuff. And I know that we had started working with Brian Barrachina and his band, and there was some music stuff, like music content that we were doing, music videos and music documentaries. And but I feel like the whole backbone to our production endeavors was La Venganza la Vampira.
Of course. That was our baby.
That
That
was
was
our
our
baby.
big baby.
I watched it last night to get ready.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh no, I should have watched it.
I'm thinking of releasing it this week, like, oh, in honor of my grandparents. Like,
Oh,
here's
you
this.
should.
I should, right? I
You
should.
should.
And like in honor of my grandparents and this podcast with Annie, like here's the Vampira movie we
That
did
I think that's
500 years
perfect.
ago.
Absolutely. What's the anniversary on that one?
Oh my goodness. The production of it was, well, before we get into that, there was this
Okay.
our relationship, you and I we were like meshing really, really well. And we were so connected. And we were starting doing this. I was so excited and what's that word? Enthusiastic about making something right away. And
oh yeah, you wanted to do it yesterday. You had an idea, and it's like we're gonna do it tomorrow. And it's like, okay.
And then we had this project called Bruja that we started casting for, and like we had people come in and audition, and we had like 16 pages, and I was like, oh my god, we're gonna make this freaking Bruja movie, and it's gonna be awesome, and it's gonna be great. And we did screen tests and all kinds of things, and then I left to LA, to UCLA, and I was gone for a whole year. But the best part was that when I came back, we we got moving and we started producing the project, and all those people that we auditioned a year ago, we ended up casting for this vampire movie.
I love how things work out. But when you left, our timelines were kind of similar, because I left as well. I was away for a year too, and then
that's right. Oh my god, that's when you like left to Spain or something, right?
So we left around. We left around the same time.
I remember our dramatic goodbye at the airport.
Right, you came to the airport. You're so romantic.
I mean, I didn't know if I was gonna see it again. I was like, if we can't make a movie, let's experience the movie scene at the airport.
That is so funny. You did do that. Wow.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, that's when you left.
And then you were like, come to Spain. And I was like, yeah. And I never went. I went the opposite direction. I went to California. To New Spain. I went to New Spain. And then we both ended up back in New York, and we started making the vampire movie.
Like immediately. I know it happened immediately because it was in the summer.
That's right. I was technically homeless in New York, squatting at the office and like bouncing between the office and your house and Edgar's house. But I was determined to make this vampire movie. And what was that experience like for you? making the vampire movie?
I mean, making Vampira was one of the best experiences that I've had, like, and especially working with you and everybody who was involved. It was. I mean, I hate to sound cheesy, but it was kind of pure magic because these things, it's hard to one to have the good idea, but then also to have the people that you work with to understand everything that you're doing. Um, and how it came together at the end. I mean, we have a really good actress in the movie.
That's right. We got Kim Fields in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, just how everything came together to make the movie was really great. But the thing that I always take away from that experience is just my collaboration with you and how well we worked. I mean, there were 24-hour days at points, and we just completely understood each other. I'm telling you, we read each other's mind. We had the same mind at one point, I think.
Oh my
And
God,
if
yeah, we had spent so much time together, and our natural compatibility just created this opportunity to have this osmosis experience where, like you said, telepathically we were communicating
telepathically,
on a level
right?
that hasn't been duplicated since.
And I remember, we were working, and it was just fun for me. You can't even call it working. No, and then I remember one of the actresses, I think it was Ami, during like a break of a scene, comes up to me and says, like, I'm so impressed how well you and Gustavo work together. Like, I just love how you guys are behind the scenes. Like, it feels like very friendly. There's no tense feelings. It's very, usually, I guess, on sets, you go on your end, while the crew starts getting ready for the next scene, the lighting getting
And we didn't even have much lighting. It was just lamps.
and hey man, whatever can do the job, okay? with a lot of shading or
Oh my goodness.
the boxes, the light boxes. And so I was just so grateful for, because hello, we weren't paying anyone. I was just grateful that people were taking time out of their day. Yes, they were doing it for their craft as well, because this is why we're all struggling artists. But I was grateful that people were showing up on set, people were showing up on time, everyone was cordial to each other. So I was grateful for everyone just being there. And I think that gratitude also, the cast had as well, that we expressed that.
Yeah, because that was like our thesis film in life.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of things in there that were really ambitious, but I'm that's one of those beloved projects to me because it was one of those things that was born out of left field, because like we had a completely different project 12 months earlier, and then it was just like, oh no, let's do this vampire movie because my grandma told me that my grandfather did this cool thing for her, and it's like this amazing Valentine's, but with horror and vampires, like the stuff that I love. And this is more fun. And the thing that I love about this movie is that we were able to make a movie within a movie.
Uh, right. We had it's yes, we literally filmed two movies.
Right. And at the time, like, I don't know how you feel about this, but also culturally, it was one of those things that really pushed the cultural parameters on language and representation, but that didn't feel so forced in the sense of like, oh, these are the faces that speak Spanish that have to look like this, and these are the faces that speak English that look like this. And it's like, when I realized what we did, I was like, oh, all the darker skinned people.
We did that yeah.
We did that on
Sorry,
purpose. Like,
right. Yeah.
yeah, it's like all the people that have like a darker skin actually speak English, and all the like
Mm-hmm.
lighter skinned people all speak Spanish.
Because I mean, we come in all shades, baby.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is like what I love about this particular project that we did is that the Spanish that's spoken, like both on in front of the camera and behind the whole production, had a influence from Mexico, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Spain. So it was this interesting representation that when people see the movie, the first thing they ask you is like, "Where's that girl from? What's up with that accent? And where's that guy from?" It's so when I
With
see the movie,
Nicole?
yeah, when Nicole and Brian,
Right.
it's like they have different accents, but to me, that's like world that I know because I feel like I'm a citizen of the world, and when I think of Spanish, I think of what Castellano, what people know as Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that there's so many different sounds to that language, the way that it is in English.
Mm-hmm. And living in New York, you have people from all over the world too. I mean,
Oh yeah,
so you will find yourself in a group of people. Let's say they're all speaking Spanish, but one is from Colombia, the other person is from Spain, another person is Dominican, Puerto Rican. Everybody's speaking in their own accent. And that's not strange. That wouldn't be a strange thing,
exactly.
So the fact that people are pointing out, oh, wait a minute, why do they have different accents is, I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't know if I would think that, I guess, if they were English speaking, if there was a Southern person or,
Right.
you know.
But you're a New York native. I'm a New York
Mm-hmm.
transplant. And when you were delving into the cinematic arts, how did your relationship with the city of New York actually influence your work, or did it?
um, well, being from New York, a New Yorker, New York is its own character. And I know that's said a lot too. Oh, New York, it's like the second character of the movie. But I think because I was immersed in it, it wasn't even a thought to me. It's just the world that I lived in. And with that, it's how you're influenced, but you don't realize that you're influenced. You have an appreciation and gratitude to say, wow, I know I'm lucky living in this city, and being able to do this and this, and being able to be immersed in so many different cultures. Again, I had friend groups of Latin speaking people, but from all different parts of the world. And you don't even give it a second thought, because that's what your world is. So I don't know how much it became an influence in the movie making, being that I was already immersed in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think for me, like being a transplant, it was like, oh, I want to go where movies are made, and like I want to
Okay.
be in a movie,
Right.
But when I saw the Vampira movie last night, one of the things that really touched me emotionally, I was like, oh fuck, look, we're shooting in New York City. Like, this is so cool. Like, none of my other work really has that. And
You
I
see,
love
yeah,
it.
because for me it was my background.
Exactly.
You hop on a train and you could be anywhere. You can be in Brooklyn, you could be in Times Square, although I avoid Times Square. But you could be it's your little background. And so again, I didn't take it for granted, but it wasn't a forethought for me.
Right.
Having moved away, though, my daughter's, obviously she's very upset that we do not live in New York anymore. She says when she becomes an adult, she's moving back. And
Ooh.
so, yeah, with that, obviously, you realize what um, the magic that New York has.
And then do you miss New York yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000% I miss New York. I am a New Yorker. I don't know. I'm here, like, I feel like dream state. Like, I'm
And
in
where are you at
Georgia.
now? Where did you move to? Tell the people of the world where you
I
at.
I am in a well, not small. It's a town called Johns Creek in Georgia. It's about 45 minutes away from Atlanta, north of Atlanta. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a small town. My husband got a job here. We moved down here. And we're trying to make a little life, but it's hard. So it's been a little hard.
But your mom is also in Georgia and your brother's also in Georgia? Is that what I
Yeah,
know?
so okay. Yes. So my mom has always wanted to move to Georgia because she's always dreamed of the bigger house. And New York is great, but New York, we don't got no space in New York. You
Right.
live in a shoebox for $5,000 a
And
month. So
she's got a good sized house in New York too. Like
yeah,
she's got a front yard, she's got a backyard, like
right. It's a
that's
decent, right. It's a decent size, but she lived Mount Vernon.
right,
It
right.
wasn't like she was in even in Queens or anything.
Not
But
like your,
still,
not like your grandma on the LES.
that's right. That's right. Avenue Day. So she's always dreamed of coming to Georgia because she's had a friend who lives in Georgia, and you can get a decent sized house with half of what you pay for in New York. So that's always been her dream. It just so happened to be that we ended up moving here before she did. And so with us moving here first, pushed her to grab her stuff and come here. I can't take her grandkids away. She's gonna
Right.
move wherever they are.
And then your brother
And
was also in Georgia
right.
before you, and then he went back.
So right. And it just my brother has been back and forth with Georgia and New York for a while. And again, one of those things that everybody's timelines just worked. And so he found himself in a situation that he can move back as well. So he's here too.
And how does that feel to have your immediate family all in Georgia? Is everybody close by? Like,
We're we're about 45 minutes away from each other,
which for New York,
yeah.
it's like, oh, you're like,
You know what? Well, the drives in the south seem so much longer
all right,
because
big skies and all that.
right. So the 45 minutes is different from New York, though.
Right. It's not like 13
It
stops
goes
on a train.
fast. Right. Right. You know. um so anyway, but it's nice having them close by, obviously, for the kids. Any milestones that they're having, grandma's here, uncle's here. It would be nice if I had more cousins here
Nice.
around, but yeah, it's good.
Well, that's exciting. A little different chapter in your life.
I know. I'm waiting for you to come.
I'm gonna come visit one day when
Okay.
when all this is over. The Rona.
Rona.
But in reminiscing, I do when I think of New York, I think of you. It's like you are synonymous to New York. And so I actually have not been back to New York. Well, I went back like for work not too long ago. But
Did
like
you?
personally, I haven't been back like, oh, let me go visit New York. It's been a long time, but I always
Yeah.
hold our memories very dear. And I know that after Vampira, we also started we continued to work together with music with Brian, and you did a music video with him and Edgar Momentos and directing that. And how was that experience like for you?
Um, that experience was very nerve-wracking for me. I was not supposed to be.
How was
that video. Oh my gosh. What I know, it was supposed to be something that um I don't know. I it was one of those situations that, when you feel hesitant to do something. I mean, we knew we wanted to do it, but um and I think you wanted to push me in having a
right? Because
more director
yes, I
role.
remember because I was
I was
supposed to be.
very comfortable being a producer, by the way.
But I was supposed to be on that shoot, but then I
Hmm.
decided that it was I had an opportunity to get a film funded and go make Ovat Beer, and it was interesting because while I was shooting Ovat Beer,
Hmm.
you were shooting the Momentos music video, so like our collaboration had become continental now. It was like, oh, like we'd been working together on projects together at the same time, but now we're working on projects at the same time, but we're not together, but we're still together like in spirit. So that was
Absolutely.
really cool. It's
It
like we kept the machine moving.
Right. It was like the company branching out.
Exactly. Gap.
Oh my gosh, I should have been wearing the button. I have it.
The button Annie is talking about is I used to work at the Gap on 42nd Street. I used to work on Broadway, and one of my gifts to Annie when I quit was the Gap button, and Annie gave it a
I
name.
still have it. Goose and Annie Productions. You gave it that name. Really? It wasn't me. I think I have it.
Yeah, you showed me a picture of it, like a few months
Yeah.
ago.
No, but I think I have it like close by.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah,
um
Goose and Annie Productions, man. We were like really we're on our way to really like if the stuff we were doing was on our own with no funding and no backing and no platform to like put it on, we were just like doing it to learn and to create and grow. And
Yeah,
and I
and
remember you stepping in to direct that music video, and it was really exciting to
it was
like.
exciting but very nerve-wracking, and I felt out of I felt out of water only because visually it wasn't something that was in my mind, and so that's why I think it was hard for me to, bring it to life, and that's one of the things that I struggled with while directing it. However, you have those moments in life that either you're very afraid, is it your gut, or is it really that you just don't want you to do it in the fear of failing? So you just have to make a decision and just do it. um, but again, it was a collaboration that I know creatively you and Brian did the storyboard and
Mhm.
everything. um, and so it was hard for me to visualize it in my head, but I tried to execute it as as well as I thought what was envisioned for it. um I don't know, the whole that experience for me was just it was scary for me.
Well,
I'm just being honest.
it's also different because it's like because at that point we had history with Brian as an actor, but now we were working with Brian as a musician.
That was his baby. That was his
Yeah,
baby now.
that was his baby
Before
now.
he was working with us on our
Exactly,
stuff.
exactly.
Right,
So
right,
now we
right.
had to deliver for him as
Right.
the
I think
band.
that
So
maybe that's
that,
right. That's what made it
especially with
more
music
nerve-wracking, I
videos, because
guess.
it's like the organism of a music video is so different because there's music, there's instruments. It's not like a performance, right? Where it's just dialogue.
Right. Yeah.
But
And working with his band and making sure that everybody was happy and just was on the same page with everything.
yes, that was a fun experience though. And
No,
one,
it's fun because then with that, sorry, but it gave me the opportunity to work more hands-on with Edgar,
yes,
who is a freaking pleasure. I mean, I love Edgar.
yeah, he's a genius.
He's so good. And with Mario was a big help on that.
That's right.
Hmm.
That was a good production. I love that we were doing things and like out of the sheer chutzpah of just doing them and not waiting to be told what to do. You know?
And with that, circle to tie that in, I think part of it is so you were asking me early in my life what motivated me or where my love for film and movie came from. And I love movies and always envisioned myself as one of the characters or whatnot. The movie actually that uh motivated or that I knew I wanted to be an actress, oddly enough, was Pretty Woman. I mean, I was like 8 or 9 at the time. I had no idea that she was a sex worker in the movie. I just knew that Julia Roberts looked so pretty in the movie, and I wanted to be an actress as well. Anyway, but growing up as a woman, Latina, or person of color, you don't really see yourself represented on television. So I would go on auditions, but there was nothing really calling for someone like me. And I that's also one of my what made me nervous of just thinking that I can even make it
Yeah, especially
in
back
the
then, because
industry,
especially back
especially
then.
back then. And you see a lot more Latinas obviously now, and I always think, man, I wish if I only had stuck with it. But in a way, because of that, we just started creating our own stuff. See,
Right.
if nobody's gonna hire us, we're gonna just make the films ourselves.
We were ahead of our time.
Right. Why did we stop?
Well, I know where we stopped is that we started working, right?
Hmm.
We both jumped into the world of advertising, and you in New York, me in Miami. But then also one of the critical things was that I did a permanent move to LA,
You did.
and but I kept going to New York as much as possible, and I do recognize that in addition to filmmaking, there was a a renaissance to photography that you and I were doing. Like you and I shot a lot of photography on film.
Mm-hmm.
Like we still shot a lot
Yes.
of stuff on film, and we would go to the lab and drop off the film. And
Mm-hmm.
I think at some point we ended up getting digital cameras. I remember we
I
would always
always had a
party.
digital.
We always partied together all the time. I think, and you had this one little Canon, and I was like, "Fuck, man! You took like 100 pictures, and like we don't even have to go to the lab. It's just like right here in your palm of your hand." Like
Yeah.
we were like the characters from The Hangover before The Hangover ever
We
existed.
invented the selfie. We invented this. You invented the selfie because I remember being on Fetish Boy, and you would show me your pictures of when you were in Paris or London, I think too, or Italy. I know it was more than I know it was Paris, but anyway, and all of your pictures is you. I'm like, you like yourself a lot, right?
I mean, those are
And you're like,
selfies on film too. Those are.
yeah, but you knew how to, and then I don't know if I got it from you, but then, you just learned how to tilt that camera and take that selfie.
That's true, and I feel like both our artistic collaboration in photography and even like the lifestyle pictures we took with your digital camera at parties, like a Dove's party, right? I was looking at those photos the other day. I was like,
Oh
oh my
Lord.
God, like that would never happen now in Corona.
Oh my God. Burn those pictures.
But there's a lot of pictures that you and I have that will never really see the light of day, right? Like private stash. But I know that we had romanticized doing one project together that the genesis of it was really gestating really, really well. And it was really ambitious because it was going to be the same storyline, but shot twice, once in New York and once in LA. And
Oh,
that was the
yeah.
beginnings of the Eye of Jeannie Strauss.
Right.
And
Right.
then life took a turn.
Yeah, I remember because I was Edgar and I was supposed to do the
The New York
black and
version.
white. Was there supposed to be a black and white version,
Something
I
like that.
think?
He might have wanted
Yeah.
to do a black and white, but there was definitely a New York version
Mm-hmm.
that you and
And
Edgar wanted to do.
yeah, and I think also at the time we wanted like the same way you pushed me to have more directorial experience, we wanted to push Edgar to do the same, knowing that he's very talented. And not just stuck doing one thing. So I think we wanted him to
Right.
have his eye. Mm-hmm.
Because I think before that, before Genie
Sorry,
Strauss.
am I jumping all over the place?
No, I'm jumping. Before the Genie Strauss, actually, there was this Stebner show endeavor, right, where I was producing a bunch of Stebner shows all over the country, right?
Who could forget the Stevner show?
Again, ahead of my time, right?
You
Making content on the internet before it was like a
seriously?
thing. And there was a LA episode that I did. There was Texas episodes, and then there was a New York episode that I wanted to do. But by the time I got to that one, I wanted to make it a little longer. And there was this it was like a magazine show at the time, right? With the pulse of a variety show, and
Mm-hmm.
with packages of different experiences. And there was a basketball there was a basketball scene that I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to shoot. And do you remember that we went to 4th Street to
No,
shoot
I
that?
have I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
But let me refresh your memory. It involved a video camera, like a soccer mom camera.
Right.
Do you remember now?
Okay. Wait a minute. You mean
so,
that the one time
so
we filmed for like an hour with random people who we asked to be on film? We're getting these awesome shots. We go back to see the footage and the tape is blank. You mean that time? Is that the time you're talking about?
That's the time
Okay.
I'm talking about. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I forgot to hit record.
That's right. But I wasn't really worried because my response was, oh, well, I guess we'll shoot in LA next week.
Oh my God.
And I flew you to LA for
Yes.
the weekend the
And
following week to shoot
yes, and
to reshoot.
I think we were trying to still make it look like it was New York. So we were shooting the basketball scene again, but with like palm trees in the background.
Yes.
And like
But
with California guys.
exactly with Dove and Soli. But hey, it worked.
Where's
But
that one? I want to see that one too.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to
Yeah.
you. But again, Goose and Annie Productions, like we were, even though we had like missed that hurdle of shooting that stuff in New York, being able to adapt and adjust. And I'm glad you didn't record it, because if you would have recorded it, you probably would not have come to LA.
Right. And that was a great experience too. That was
Absolutely.
amazing. I saw how you were living, how that life was going for you. I saw the office, the job, that you
That's
left,
right.
took you away from me. Like, this is who hired you. Who are these people?
That's true. You got to see the behind the veil.
Right.
But
And I got to meet your cousin,
Brenda,
and I got to see Dove again, which was
that's
nice.
right.
Hmm.
But I did feel that we were gonna make it to shoot that Jeannie Strauss project. But then as we were developing it and we were like on the same page, literally, we were like, oh my God, we have the same pages, but these are gonna be New York pages and those will be LA.
Uh-huh.
It was the same
Right.
story,
Hmm.
right? Ahead of our time again. But then life happened and death happened, right?
Right.
Um, my sister died,
Right.
and then you became a mom.
Shortly after that, yeah.
Yeah. And I felt that at that point, I had stopped down any creative endeavors. I stopped making movies, and I just really took a break for a long time. But eventually, when I was ready to come back to making that project, I wanted to do something different, but I did want to honor our collaboration. So, I kept our collaboration credited on screen with you and Edgar, with Ginny Strauss. So, but yeah, and it finally got made. But I still think we should go back
And if
and one day.
do you, with that same premise or with a completely new idea?
I think it should be something new, right? But I think it should be, I think it could be
Like a
something
different plot, but the
different.
same idea of one
Yeah,
version.
different story, but
Yeah.
it could be a New York version and an LA version. Maybe even like shorter, like 10 pages shorter.
It was feature length or something what we were
It was
doing,
like 30, it
right?
was like a 15-page script. Imagine being in the audience and be like, okay, let me see this New York version. Then I have to see the same story, but now LA version. Get with that. It's like,
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's true.
right. So, but I think,
Okay, wait, what?
but I think maybe like a 2-minute version of each would be a lot more efficient and probably easier to digest. But but now that we haven't made a movie in a long time, but I still fantasize of reconnecting with you one day. But let's make it a feature film, and we'll get back to movie making one day.
I would love that. I would love to work with you. I mean, ideally for me, it would just be you and I having our own production house and, spitting out films and having it very uh, culturally influenced and, give our people more of a voice.
Right, and that's actually a very interesting thing, because that, like, you and I never really had conversations of like, oh, let's put this representation on screen, because we never had that formal conversation to overtly put the representation on screen, because we were just doing it naturally.
Right.
And what's your take on what, like, when you see television and movies like now, and you mentioned it earlier, like even back then when you were auditioning and you didn't really see yourself represented on screen, when you look at the stuff that you're watching now, and like what's your feeling on it? Like how do you feel when you see like mainstream movies today? versus like what you saw like 10, 18 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely seeing a lot more representation compared to how it was before. But I mean, there's definitely a lot more work to be done because I think that the main thing to do is what Tyler Perry is doing. You need to be behind the camera. You need to be the one creating the projects. It's one thing to go for an audition and be fortunate enough to be casted in a main feature film and to have the opportunity to represent. It's a completely other thing to be the person of color writing the story, hiring a crew who are also people of color who understand the story that is being told. And I think that is still where that gap is that Hollywood is recognizing obviously that we're screaming for more representation, and I guess they're putting out more films to do that, but we need people behind the desk making the decisions, and I think that is where we need to that's where we need to attain, and that's what we need to accomplish, because they don't know our story.
Right.
We know our story, and it's not even like you said to like overtly put it in your face, we're Latin, come. It's we want to just see ourselves. It's just, that's, it's not asking for much, I don't think. you know and who can say better than the people living it?
Right. Because then we'll be minimized to what other people see us as.
Right. So it's changed a lot, and we definitely see more representation. Like I love that, like a Jane the Virgin was on television. That was done very well. But it was not from a woman of color who created the movie. I think the showrunner was not,
Mm.
even though it's nice to see the representation, but it was still not a person of color who was spearheading it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like watching Colin Tilley music videos of with all these rappers, right? It's like,
Right.
it's like
And again, it's not to say that to be ungrateful, like, oh, like I still love that we have the representation, but it's better if it's told with someone who knows the experience and the story. um and it's great to see movies like, um what is it, with Zoe Saldana, Guardians of the Galaxy. And when I see now people, people on film, like you feel more included.
right.
How many Latinos do we have in the world? You're going to say that you're not going to find one who's talented, who can work on this project. There's
Right.
going to be a person who can do that, who can also represent and say the story as well. You just have to look out and search for it. You can't just say, look in my backyard and these are the people who I know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We just have to be more broad and open, and it's not forcing our representation on anyone. It's just we're here, obviously.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And how's life in Georgia like impacted your point of view on this issue of like, is it the same as far as, I mean, you're from New York, so it's like, but
Hmm.
you're in a completely different part of the world now, right? So it's like you can see
It's
you can see
it's
a different market.
strange, right? Well, the world is a little weird right now because we've always had the same. Well, we've always had the same issues. It's just that now, with the the people who we've had in politics of recent years, the tension that we've been living in for the past, couple of years, corona, quarantine, everything boiling and bubbling to the point that, you know, it pretty much like exploded. And the turning point was, I sorry to now I'm going sorry to get political, I feel, but we have George Floyd. Everybody's home. Everybody now is seeing it. We have, then the protests started to come out, and people were having like a different reaction to something that has been said for a very long time that has been going on.
Right.
For a very long time, it's been, you're overreacting. It's not really like that. No. And you become so yourself desensitized that, okay, this is just how it is. And and something happens that people wake up. Well, half of the country wakes up and say, wait a minute, this is wrong. This should not be happening. And then you see the ripple effect with other, industries taking note and now acknowledging BLM, regardless of how you feel about BLM. But a company like Nike now, or the NFL now saying and apologizing to Colin Kaepernick for doing something for them, speaking his American right and just,
Right.
kneeling, but now saying we apologize and so
Right.
a lot of things are changing, but
Especially with
it's
the
up
double
to us
standard of
too.
the,
A
especially with the
lot of
double
double standard.
standard of the NFL, where it's like there's players that engage in domestic violence, but yet they can still play football,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like, and
Right.
even and then, for unfortunately, there's players that suffer concussions and you know career-ending injuries, and it's like they're not really like. At what point are the players like? It became evident that players aren't as important as the organization.
Right. Right.
Whether it's like the social injustice of Colin Kaepernick, the double standard of domestic violence and drug abuse in the
Mm-hmm.
NFL,
Mm-hmm.
or even like turning a blind eye to injuries and like rejecting accountability. So it's like,
Accountability. I think that was the theme of 2020. I mean, part of the themes is accountability. It's just like recognize what is being done and what has been happening, and then just acknowledge it. Nobody's saying to like blame yourself, but just recognize what your part is in within society and what we can do to change it.
right. And I feel that's why it's important to be like the best human possible and contribute the best you can with the time that you have while
Absolutely.
you're alive.
And so, sorry, to going back to your question, being here in Georgia. So, yes, with representation, but then also because of where I live, you know, Georgia turned blue, baby. However, you're welcome. I moved here
You moved there to
specifically for
vote.
that. I moved here. I brought my mom, brought my brother. We added those votes. But you don't know. Okay, so in New York, I feel like you can freely talk about politics or your stance on social issues and not be judged, or not even be judged, but you have an overall feeling that the person who you're talking with shares your same views. Whereas here, you don't know where people stand.
Right. But I feel like what's also very unique to New York is that even if you disagree with someone in New York, you can still be open and talk and share and disagree, because at the end of the day, unlike any other place in the world, New York, at the end of the day, New Yorkers are New Yorkers
Mm-hmm.
first,
Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like everything else is like, because in New York, I feel like there's so much human contact that what affects one person can really affect the whole community, right? It's like, yo, the
Well, that's
train is
because
closed on
they
the
got
weekend.
that affect, yeah,
It affects
everybody's day is messed
everybody.
up. Everybody's day is messed up.
Yeah.
And you got to text your boss and
Hmm.
then your coworker, and you're like, yeah, I'm delayed too.
Right.
I
And then
got
you
it.
finally, and then there's finally Wi-Fi under the subway, but now you moved to Georgia. So
No, no, no. I had Wi-Fi before I moved.
oh, there you go.
I did experience that before leaving.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, but New York, but to add to that is also that we all have different backgrounds as well, and because of that, it's funny because it's like you're like, "Yeah, get off me, and who are you looking at in New York?" But at the same time, it's like, don't mess with the New Yorker. But the New Yorker but that New Yorker can be from Pakistan or from, China or whatever. Because of the different backgrounds is why we are able to understand each other.
Right. Especially because you're like everyone's in each other's faces over there.
In each other's faces, right? Whereas here, there's more space between you, but then it's there with that space, it gives you room to be judgy
Right, of course. I mean,
because you maybe don't know your neighbor that well, or
exactly. And I feel like in New York, you can still be judgy, but you can
you
exercise
say
your,
it to your face.
yeah,
They
they
say
say
it
to
to your
your
face.
face. Yeah. But like, in places like the South, it's a little different, right? It's like,
Yes. However, with COVID, I will say that I am glad that we are here when it happened, because you didn't get to see my last apartment, but I lived in a shoebox.
in
It
New
was
York.
so, yes. Had we had to quarantine there, we would have just somebody was coming out not alive. Like it would
Wow.
have been, yeah.
So the living the Rona in Georgia was a little bit more spacious and a little bit more bearable.
Yes. You go to your room. You go
Because
to your
in Georgia,
corner.
you could probably quarantine in your own house and not see like your
Right.
family members for a
Each
day or
person
two.
quarantined in their own room. Hmm.
And what have you been doing in Georgia to creatively keep yourself stimulated? Like you mentioned some watercoloring, you mentioned some photography. What creative flexing are you doing in Georgia?
I wish I did more. I wish I've been doing more. But I need. So okay. So I have a friend who's in real estate, and he is gracious enough to commission me on different pieces when he sells a home, and he will tell me a little bit about the client, and he just leaves it at that with me, and I pretty much just come up with an idea, and it's different pieces to represent like a a housewarming gift that represents the house and the work that was put into purchasing the house. So it will be like either a map of where they live, and I've done different wood burning techniques with that. My last piece was a wood burning design, and for this one, I'm incorporating a wood burning design for the frame because the frame is wood, but the centerpiece will be a watercolor of the house that they purchased. And just trying different mediums, going on YouTube a lot, going on Patreon a lot, actually, and following artists who offer classes there. That way I show support to them with that, and I get to learn something, because I'm not I'm not going back to school. And as an artist though, it's like sometimes I don't know if it's like something of the past that you're told to focus on one thing and just do that. Like, imagine if you just did film and you
Oh
said, no,
yeah.
no, no, just do film. What are you doing photography for? Or what are you doing oil painting for? Or what are you learning piano for? But as artists, you're just you jump from one thing to the other, and you want to learn a little bit of everything. Um, so that's where I am right now. I'm really liking the watercoloring, so focusing more on that and seeing where that takes me right now.
I was speaking to a friend of mine who does watercoloring, and I tried it again recently, and
Mm,
it's so it's so peaceful.
it is. It's very therapeutic. Because just
And
like the water, like the colors just like start like flowing.
yeah, I feel like I'm in kindergarten again.
But you're good in oil painting though. Oil painting is really hard.
Right, because it's like it's messy, it's poisonous, but it's
Mm-hmm. That smell. To clean those brushes.
I know it's like, but how's the watercoloring going? Like, is it something that you're enjoying and really like? Is it like popping for you?
It is. So right now I'm still learning and trying different techniques and blending colors. So I'm in that stage. Um, with this piece, I think I'm going to stick with just the pencil, watercolor pencil, and not get too crazy about it, because it's just I put so much detail into this house, and I
Mm,
don't want it to get lost within the watercolor, because watercolor is more for it to be flowy.
right.
You'll see watercolor, for example, in a lot of animals like birds and sea life and things like that, and flowers, where you can have a freedom to mess around with the detail. I don't know why I thought about doing a watercolor for a house where there's a lot of like straight lines. I'll let you know how that one turns out. But yeah, no, definitely, show more pieces like that.
And then you're also doing your own photography for your family portraits. Those look really good.
I take all my family's pictures. Thank you. I take the pictures for the kids. I was trying to, my brother wanted to, he knows someone in the industry who works with casting. So he wanted to take pictures of the kids and see if he can help get them anything. But that was right before Corona started. It was we took their headshots in early March, like the first week of March we took. And I remember asking my brother, should we wait? I'm hearing crazy things about this virus. I'm hearing they're starting to shut things down. Should we wait until it cools over? And my brother was like, no, let's just do it, because we had already rented the lights. I don't have lights. We rented the lights. And I said, should we cancel it? Maybe in 2 weeks, this thing will die down. Luckily, he said, no, let's just keep doing it. Let's just stick to schedule. And we did it. And right there, everything shut down.
Wow.
So then I have the headshots for my kids, but I haven't taken them to any auditions. Even though I have seen castings for kids, I just have to everything is video. You have to send a video audition for them.
Well, that's exciting now, though. It's like you can still work, but it's not the same. But I think
get this, I've gotten a callback for the kids for modeling, but I have to go back to New York. I'm like, Tyler Perry, hello, I'm right here in Atlanta. Like, let's go there. No, the callback I get is to go back to New York. I said, fine. I'm like, we'll see how it works.
That'll be exciting, though. Imagine,
yeah, that would be nice. Being an excuse to go back.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been back since you moved to Atlanta?
To New York, the last time I was in New York was December of 2019, when we went to visit family for Christmas. But our family, so we have family in Long Island and then Pennsylvania. So our, taste of New York was driving through the GW to get to PA. But we had to make a stop to get pizza. Because Mila, she's like, I hate Georgia pizza. The only pizza is from New York. So we had to get New York pizza.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
She's not wrong. I'm not arguing with her. Right? You're right, girl. And that's my girl. And I have a little Batman figurine. So we had to go take pictures.
Mexican Batman.
Oh my God. I have him right here. Let me show you. Hold on. And we took pictures at the Joker stairs in the Bronx.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hold on. I need to show you my Batman. This is my little friend,
Oh my God, that's the Adam West Batman.
It's Adam West Batman. He doesn't have a cape though, but you see how he's all dirty?
Yeah.
But he travels with me everywhere I go, but I haven't gone anywhere.
Wow.
The plan was to make, so he has an Instagram, but I haven't posted in a long time.
Oh, so he's gonna be.
I want to get him on TikTok.
He could be like, remember the movie Amelie?
Yeah. Oh, with the troll, the gnome.
The gnome.
He was my traveling Adam West Batman, and his name is Adam West Batman.
That's awesome.
That's his little tag.
That out of all the Batman emblems on the chest, like that one's my favorite.
Is it? Yeah,
the 1960s Batman is
absolutely.
Because I think that's the one that's true to the original comic. Before Frank Miller came in and did Dark Knight.
In all its cheesy form.
Right.
I do like the dark Batman though. I like all Batmans, but this one's my favorite because he's Adam West.
Right. Is that your favorite Batman of all Batmans?
Yeah, who's better than Adam West?
I mean, Michael Keaton for me.
No, Michael Keaton is second for me.
There you go.
And then Christian Bale. I think it ends there because
that's true.
They haven't been doing very well with Batman movies. DC.
I hear Georgia has a very healthy film production.
They do. They do. Well, that's why the intention in taking the pictures for the kids was to get them audition here because of a lot of the production. I mean, you see a movie, there's a peach in every at the end of all the credits. There's a
That's
big
right.
peach.
Giant
A
peach.
lot of, right. There's a lot of production here. You just well,
It's like all the Marvel
the
movies
low
have a peach.
do they?
A lot of the Marvel movies were shot in Georgia.
I think maybe I've just become so like I see it all the time. Um, but yeah, I started noticing obviously when with Walking Dead, I think it started mostly there, and then
That's
it took
right.
off.
Yeah, because of all the tax breaks and everything.
Yep.
Oh, and speaking of
And you have a lot of
peaches,
landmass.
that's
Yes, go
right.
ahead.
And then speaking of peaches, do you remember Coming to America, the movie?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, well, Coming to America too, or the second one was also shot. Part of it was shot in Georgia at
I
Tyler
think it
Perry.
was isn't it a Tyler? Yeah, it was a Tyler
Tyler
Perry's
Perry.
mm-hmm.
But I remember those girls and the twins in the original. My name is Peaches, and I'm the best.
I didn't even know that's what you were referring to.
You gotta keep up with my segues, girl. Oh my god, I love that you have an Adam West Batman.
He's my buddy. I have the Robin also from that show. The
Really?
Joker. Yeah. Oh my god. Do you want to get them?
Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
I didn't know you had action figures like that.
Well,
And
yeah,
those are yours. They're not your children's. Those are yours.
this I actually stole from my cousin. So he he had it one Christmas, and I was just playing with him the whole time I was there. And I was like, he's just coming with me. So because I had an idea for him. I said he's just going to be my traveling Batman, and I am going to take a picture of him everywhere I go. And so, but living in New York, you can do that. You can get out a different subway stop, and you have a different background, and that's your picture right there.
Right. You can hit all
I
five
mean, it's
boroughs.
Gotham City.
That's
It's Gotham
right.
City, literally. So,
That's
but
true.
in Georgia, I don't know where to go to take a picture for him.
Just take a picture with him next to a peach.
Oh my god, taking a bite out of the peach. No, but so I have an idea. Like I'm like, okay, I want him. He has a TikTok handle. He has an Instagram handle.
You gotta send him to me.
He needs stories. I want him.
Maybe he can like fight all other action figures that you have.
Well, yeah, I have the Joker. I have him. I want him to be doing I need some type of storyline. I wanted to have like a still honoring the Batman from the 60s and having it campy. So and I'm like, do I have to rewatch like the whole series to like get ideas like to what to do with it? Because I want to honor the show still.
I think you can just watch the movie, right? The 1966 one with
Just watch the movie.
Just watch the movie. I think you're good. It's when it's where they're fighting against the Joker, the Penguin, Catwoman, and the Riddler. But the Catwoman, unfortunately, is not Eartha Kitt in the movie. It's someone else. I forgot. I personally love Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt, right?
Like she was great.
She was Catwoman. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like from Bewitched, which Dan.
Oh, that's right. There was two Dans. Yo, have you seen WandaVision yet?
No, I haven't, because remember, we're watching all the
right.
MCU movies.
You're doing a marathon.
We're doing the marathon, and then I'm going to watch WandaVision because I've heard it's supposed to be. I don't know if I mentioned this last night, but she's supposed to merge Spider-Man and X-Men universes, also like the storylines.
Oh, I did not know that.
I learned that from TikTok. Some person on TikTok was talking about. I was like, oh my God, is that true?
Oh my God, I'm so mad. You and I didn't invent Instagram or TikTok. We could have been billionaires by now.
Oh my God. But do you remember? Okay, so yes, going back to the Stebner show. And at the time, I said, you need to go on Vine and you need to do Vine videos. And but then Vine died.
Right. I mean, I tried, but I was like, I
No, I
wasn't.
know, I know, but I know you did. You did.
I think my mind is just more like, what? 7 seconds? That's it? No, I need like more.
Yeah, I know. Those, yeah. And I don't know what happened with that, but I just saw you having like the creative like
I think I still do. I just feel like when life happens,
no,
I
definitely. These
I
are these
take
were
a
for like
rest.
young at the
Right.
maybe young millennials who knew how to work that app and knew what to
Mm-hmm.
do with it. Like even
Exactly.
with TikTok, right? Millennials are old for TikTok.
Exactly.
Apparently. Oh my God. Like I watch it in secret. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be on this app. Like looking at the
Oh.
videos. Because I'm too old.
Oh man. But hey, I feel like it's also valid for research, right? It's like I feel
I've
like
learned a lot. There are people who go
dude,
on and
all the
they
hacks are amazing.
I got heavy into political TikTok though, I'll be honest.
Oh, I believe it.
um but yeah, and then there's a lot of tutorials too, and then that's how I found the artist who I follow now on Patreon to with her watercoloring, and so it's helpful for that stuff too. And eventually, I want to start doing videos to post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was speaking to my friend Agnieszka, who's Polish, but she grew up in Chile, and she recently became a mom. And I was having this conversation about creativity, and she was saying that she doesn't really feel like she's a creative person, but yet when she became a mom, she realized that she had all these creative muscles that she was flexing as a mom because she was saying every day she had to play race cars with her son, and
Hmm.
every day she had to narrate a different story.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
So I wanted to tap into, I'm not a parent and I'm
Right.
not a spouse,
Uh-huh.
but when it comes to creativity, I would like to be a spouse one day and maybe even a father. But when it comes to creativity, how has motherhood and being a spouse been for you?
Um, well, being a mother, my daughter now is of an age that she can take on something and create a project out of it. She has shown a lot of interest in filming, and she's dabbled with stop motion. I've posted some things on Facebook. So when I see her flexing, those little tiny muscles, I see myself a little bit. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, at that age, I would have been doing something like that if I had a little phone to work with too. She writes a lot. She writes comics. So apparently, what I've been told is that people say, oh, she's getting that from you because she sees you doing that, and she um, is tapping into those different mediums to work with. I'm like, okay, and in a way, I guess you become an influencer to your child when they see you doing things. And she loves to see when I'm drawing something or painting something, and she always says, "Oh, you're so good." And I just say, "You just have to keep at it. It's not that I'm good or anything. It's just like just keep repeating myself and just keep getting better at that one skill."
So you're good
Um,
at the actual follow through and the discipline of doing it.
yes. Well, when it comes to drawing, for me, that's my medium, drawing.
Really? What?
Yes. You
I
didn't
never
know
knew.
that
No.
about me?
It took me 18 years to
Yes.
discover that.
Stop. I'm gonna do a watercoloring of your face. Yeah, that one. um,
I never knew you
but
actually drew. Like with
yeah,
what's your favorite? Graphite, pencil, charcoal, all of that?
you know what? Funny enough, I drafting like a drafting pencil or a mechanical pencil because I do fine lines.
You're
One of
like
my
a fina.
stop. Well, like the artist, the Escher. I don't know if I'm ever pronouncing him correctly. His
That
name.
is the correct pronunciation, by the way.
Okay. Like he's my favorite. And so that I would never do, I don't think I would do anything that intricate, but like those lines and the dedication, I love that.
Right, because he actually used mathematics in his drawings.
Yes, and I've always been told actually if I'm good at math, which I am not. But apparently I have very good spatial vision, and I can just look
Mm,
at something and know like how big it is, and in
that's
regards to
because
like
you're a
how many.
Libra, well balanced.
Yeah, but it also drives me crazy being a Libra because if you're not balanced, ooh, oh my gosh, your whole world is like off kilt.
I think that's why you and I are so compatible because I'm a Gemini and I just feel well balanced around you.
Oh,
Be like,
I've always been good friends with Geminis.
yeah.
Yeah. But sorry, so just to add to the creative thing with the
With the
kids,
oh, that's right, with the children.
with the children. So right now we are reading the Harry Potter books, and like there's no way I cannot do it this way. I have to read it with the voices. And but she tells me I have to do it this way. It's not because I have. She says,
Oh,
no, if
it's
you don't, she tells me I have to do the
direct. She's
voices.
directing you.
Yeah, and I think I started it at first so that it can be fun for her. But then I'm on book 4 and I have to kind of like jump ahead to see who's saying the line. Like, is it Ron or Hermione? Because I have to change the cadence in my voice, like to sound more girly if it's Hermione, and then I have to, if it's Ron, he's more like a little.
And do you do it with a English
With
accent?
a, I do. I'm not gonna say it here. I don't want to offend anyone.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna talk like
I'm gonna call you later and be like, Annie, read me some Harry Potter. I'm trying to sleep. I got insomnia, girl. I need you to read me Harry Potter.
Talk to me like Dumbledore. And
Oh my
so
goodness.
that's where the whole also the idea to venture into voice acting came from as well. So because I do read it to her and I do enjoy it myself, like doing the different voices for the characters. And I found that I was not doing such a terrible job at it. And so I looked into some classes and I want to see how I can continue with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. And there's a market for that here in Georgia for that too. And
Oh yeah.
and now everything being remote, you can do voice acting
Yeah.
from your home.
You can do cartoons and everything. You can do all kinds of things,
Right.
advertising and
And yeah, and again, having the kids, you do the character voices on for with the
and
TV shows that they're watching.
exactly. And then you can also do things bilingual. You can do stuff in Spanish.
With my Dominican accent.
Ya tú sabes.
Which accent should I do?
I don't know, but you know how in comedy, in English comedy, you hear about, oh, let me do my white voice.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an equivalent to that in Spanish? Like, oh, because I know in Mexico when we speak with slang, it comes off as very street and
Mm-hmm.
very informal and a little offensive.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go neutral Spanish, like Univision Spanish or whatever,
Uh-huh.
can
Uh-huh.
do you do a neutral Spanish accent?
It sounds like I'm from Spain. Like it will
Oh,
come off. It will.
so you do like Castilian sounds
Yes, and I mean, having lived there
because you
for
live
a
there,
while,
like,
it sticks with you. It's a little bit like if you
right?
want. Sometimes if you want to sound
Because
proper in English.
you lived out there twice, right?
So I was there a semester in college.
That's right.
That was
Before I
in
met you.
right, and that was only for 3 months, but I loved it so much. I wanted to go back, and so after graduating college, I was working in finance and miserable, and I was like, "What am I doing?" And so I knew I always wanted to go back to Spain, and so I knew that you can go and teach English.
Oh,
And
there
I
you
said,
go.
I know English.
I'm a
I could
voiceover
do this.
actor. I will be when the pandemic comes in 10 years.
I went and you get certified, you get your little diploma, and then you can go work. And for me, because I had worked in finance, I was luckily able to get a lot of jobs within finance companies, because they want their workers obviously to speak
Oh,
English to
that's right.
their to clients, and be more international. And being that I had a business background, I said, yeah, I know all the business jargon, finance, highs and lows, and I know all of that. And so that was my bread and butter while I lived there. And it was fun. I had a lot of fun.
So wait, you go from a Dominican accent to a Castilian accent?
Do you really want to hear this? I don't, but you know what?
I think I've heard
I
it
would,
before, but personally.
yeah, but then you don't want to come off like you're pretending or anything
Right,
either.
exactly.
But I just want to come off okay. For example, obviously I'm a Latina woman of person of color. When you work in an office, when you pick up that phone, you have to put your white voice on to sound professional.
All right, let's do it. Ring, ring, ring.
Yes, hello. How can I help you?
Hi, I'd like to order pizza.
Oh, you've called the wrong place, sir.
Oh, okay, sorry.
This is a sex dungeon.
Oh, oh God, don't even.
Can I still help you?
No, I'm okay.
Oh, okay.
It sounded pretty professional. I was actually about to order a Supreme.
We have some Super Bowl specials.
What about in Spanish? A ver, ring, ring, ring.
Hola, ¿en qué le puedo asistir?
Ah, sí, quiero ordenar una pizza.
Disculpa, pero esto no es una pizzería, es... How do you say dungeon? Es una dungeon.
I have no idea how to say dungeon. Oh my God. This is why we have the internet. Hold on. Let's see what Google says. Oh my God. I don't know how to say dungeon.
Oh my God, my laughing. Please edit out my laughing.
That's the best part. Okay. According to John Dungeon, Calabozo?
Calabozo.
Calabozo.
Esto es un calabozo de sexual. ¿Le podría asistir?
Sí, pero lo puedo hacer online porque está el corona.
No, está bien. Ofrecemos online también.
Oh my goodness. See, you got to do the voice acting. It's so good.
Aw, thank you.
So, creativity, filmmaking, 18 years in the making. I think that we should go back and make a movie together one day.
I think not one day. I definitely. Hopefully, this will die down within the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Let's
2023.
start brainstorm. Oh my God, that's fine.
I mean, I'm just saying, right? That'll be.
I only say this because I'm not getting any younger, dude.
Like, I mean, well, 2023 will be our 20-year anniversary of knowing each other.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Or we can shoot it in 2022 and release it in 2023, you know?
Okay. That sounds good.
So
should we involve some of the crew?
Yeah, we should call everybody. Be like, yo, one last hurrah.
Oh my God, Jill. We didn't mention Jill.
Oh my God, Jill. She's so great.
I love her.
Oh man, we had some good times, Annie.
Yeah, we had great times.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole family knows you.
That's true. From your grandma to your kids.
Yeah. I mean, if my grandma knows you.
Well, I feel lucky and I feel honored to know you and your family.
Oh, likewise. I feel very fortunate that our stars crossed.
Yes. And of all days on your birthday. I have some ideas of some things I'd like to do, but we'll see. Don't take anything seriously until I have it on paper with money behind it.
Oh boy, money.
We never had that before.
We somehow made it happen, though.
I know, man.
I didn't have a job when we made Vampira. Like, how was I getting by?
I have no idea.
That was sorry, I know this has gone on long enough. This episode. I just need to add this. I just part of when you asked me like, early on in my interest in doing film, part of my hesitation and fear was also not knowing when you have a job. So I never knew how artists really did it when they just focused on either acting or the singing. I was always like inclined to do like the 9 to 5, and I don't know if that is from my upbringing or just my own thing. um but I always struggled with that. I always struggled. Remember, I would come to you with so much like for therapy sessions, like, should I take this job? Am I selling myself out? you know
Yeah, I remember that because especially working in advertising and finance, like it was, and
it's
then
soul
soul
sucking.
sucking. Yes, but
Yeah, I
but
can't. It's
the good thing about the Vampira project is that we can still see it, right? Like I don't know if I can go back to all the advertising jobs I ever did and be like, hey, this is a job I did. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't, and if I did, I don't really have that much pride for it. I was like, oh, I did that for money.
Well, yeah. I
but
mean,
but I feel like having a job, and I mean, it's something that's perpetual and essential. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, pride doesn't pay the bills, right? But
exactly.
I feel like it's all about timing, right? And you don't overexert yourself where you like max out your credit and like put yourself on the upside down financially. But if you never really swing at your creative opportunities, you're never gonna do anything, right? So I feel
Yeah.
there's a balance there, and for Libra, I
It's
think
like
you
there's
need
always a
both.
balance.
I think you need both. I think you need that stability, but you also need that creative expression. And without the other
When
one,
one outweighs the other, you feel,
exactly.
yeah, that's when depression kicks in. Yay, depression
Yay!
and anxiety.
Can we do a quick rapid fire?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Favorite horror movie?
Friday the 13th.
Ooh, that's good. Favorite director?
I'm gonna sound so cliche, but I'm going to say Spielberg.
Hmm.
But for me, Spielberg because of The Color Purple.
Oh, that's a good one. I just saw that recently. I haven't seen
Did
it.
you?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So good.
I remember being a kid and crying so hard.
I mean, that movie was really, really good. Really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Next rapid fire question would be favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Signs.
Signs. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Hands down. That's what made me focus my thesis on him, which now I regret. I did my entire thesis on M. Night Shyamalan, and then his other films didn't end up being so great. And I'm writing this thesis like he's one of the greatest directors ever. However, Mel Gibson aside, Signs.
Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Marvel or DC?
Come on. Marvel, 100,000%.
What?
100,000% Marvel.
Which Marvel character would you like to play?
Rogue.
Ooh,
She's my favorite.
that's a good one. Favorite rapper?
Right now, I guess Megan Thee Stallion.
Favorite singer of all time?
I don't have a favorite singer. However, I am a huge fan. This is not going to probably bode well for me, but Britney Spears. I think she's queen status. I think she was done so wrong. I actually saw a documentary last night and went to bed way too late.
Is it about the
last
Free
night.
Britney situation?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so into it myself. I want to see it.
I just think that society did her so wrong. And that's right now I'm focusing on her right now.
What about dang, I should have been prepared with these. How about slow fire? I got a couple of slow fire questions for you. Favorite gangster movie?
Scarface.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's the best one.
And then Goodfellas.
Oh yeah, Goodfellas is good. Dang, I got no more fire questions.
Dang. You mean the slow roasted?
Slow roasted fire. It's so slow it burnt out. We got Annie Rodriguez here today, aka Liz Kozikowski. No, did I killed it. Oh my god.
Kozikowski.
There you go.
Just like cozy. I say cozy.
We got Liz Cozy coming in today to the studio.
God.
Don't make eye contact with her. Oh my goodness. It's been a pleasure to see you today. Wasn't yesterday when I woke up yesterday, was not expecting to have you on the mic today, but for some reason last night I was like laying on the ground.
Yeah, what happened? What was the
I don't know.
You're like, oh, let me call her.
I have no idea. Maybe it was just like I'm laying on my floor. It feels weird not to be moving or doing anything.
That's right. You're on the floor.
Right. And it's like I'm constantly on the move, constantly moving. And for some reason, yesterday I was thinking about you and I was like, hey, we should do something tomorrow. And here we are. I appreciate you coming on. And
I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Going down memory lane with me.
Absolutely. Our memories. If people are listening, they're like, huh? What? Who cares about Avenue D?
I hope to see you again when all this is over and reunite for a 20th anniversary. Goose and Annie production.
It will be epic.
Thank you for listening to Stebner Show.